one junction, and that goes to C is to 10. So that is our bond gap. Okay. So very simple one. Now,
Sir, can we give the opposite direction arrows with 1 by A as a ratio?
yes, 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 orientation. Orientation, yes. That's same thing. That's same thing. Opposite direction arrow you can give with 1 by A. You can change the power direction and make it minus A. If you change the power direction, it will be minus A. Okay. Because if you change the power direction, the equation at one junction will change. Right? The bond will have, according to that power direction in the bond, on the spring acting force acting on the spring will become negative, and because you have again given minus A as the modulus, that negative will cancel, it will become positive. So when you change power direction, transformer modulus will become negative. If you change orientation, it will become reciprocal. So that's okay. Fine, that's not a problem. You have done it. Some of you have done it in your assignment.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, there shouldn't be model the pressure as a source of effort. Like you directly model it as zero. I mean, OP.
No. There is no source of effort. I have not put any pump or something. That pressure comes because of the motion of these things. Okay, some initial pressure might be there. Okay, the pressure will change because of these things. See, then everything like spring I should model as a source of effort. This pressure is like a spring only.
So here we are not considering the gases like the intermediate gases, incompressible fluid.
I have written it incompressible. If it is compressible, then at that 0 P1 and 0 P2, I will put two C elements. And the value of those C elements will be beta by volume. Because our relation is P is equal to delta P is equal to minus beta del V by V. Okay. So pressure is related to, pressure will be related to beta del V by V. Delta V is the, when you take derivative, delta V is the rate of change of volume. So beta divided by V will be the compressibility. Okay, that is the stiffness. So if you have compressible fluid and volume increases, then volume is in denominator, compressibility decreases. If volume decreases, compressibility increases. So we have assumed it to be incompressible. So even if you put a C here at 0 P1 or 0 P2, because the stiffness will become infinite, so the flow in that will become zero. Whatever effort you give, because stiffness is infinite, flow will become zero. So we can remove that. That will be powerless, we can remove that. So I have directly modeled it assuming incompressibility. If you have compressibility, you have to put two C elements at these two zero junction. Alright, those will be hydraulic C elements. Right now? Okay. So to demonstrate the properties, I
Sir?
will not take, yes.
Why is this a one junction in the M2 and M1, sir? We can directly connect it.
You can directly connect transformer to any of the elements. Okay. Transformer has to be there, okay, between junctions. You cannot connect a source of effort directly to I. You cannot draw this kind of a thing, AC connected to I. No, this is not. Something has to be there. Okay. Now in this case, because there are only two bonds, you can put 1, 0 doesn't matter. Alright. So you cannot connect a transformer directly to any other element. You can connect a transformer to a transformer, but not anything else. Okay, transformer or a generator or 0 or 1, okay, some kind of a constant, and not to a element. Elements will always appear at 1 or 0 junctions.
Sir, here we are modeling the fluid as an ideal transformer and we are neglecting its inertia and stiffness, right?
Yes.
How would we, if fluid inertia were to be considered, how would we, what would be the equivalent?
Fluid inertia, inertia that is, I have shown already. Right. Fluid inertia is rho L by rho A by L. Okay, I have shown it in beginning. Okay. That you have to include. Okay. But fluid inertia will not be significant in these cases. Okay, compliance will be significant.
All right.
Field inertia will be significant when you are flowing fluid. Okay, free flowing fluid.
Sir,
So
if
for
we try to reduce this model, so
yes,
will the one junction between I and the transformer be removed or not?
which one? One junction? No, 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 no. Oh, transformer one and transformer, you cannot reduce the one junction. Okay, transformer cannot connect to I. But what you know already is a transformer connected to I element. Let's say direction is opposite. It's 1 by A. That is equivalent to a single I element. I have shown it for some kind of system that is equivalent to single I element whose value is the transformer modulo square times the mass. So whole thing you can replace by I is equal to M2 by A square. This whole thing M2 or M1 side straight zero junction I is equal to M2 by A square, I is equal to M1 by A square. That is possible. Okay, but if you have a transformer, you cannot directly connect it to any element. You have to put something in between. Otherwise, even if you do in that software I have given you, you won't be able to do that. It will tell some error. That is syntactical only. That is notation wise. Otherwise, I don't find any reason why that should be there. But it's only because there is a constant needed after the transformer. If you have an electrical transformer, then you need a circuit at least on the right hand side. Without circuit, how do you put a load? Okay, transformer with a, let's say load is resistance. So you have to have a circuit element there. That's why that constant is there. Okay, so to show properties, properties will not change due to transformer. So I will just say let A is equal to 1. Okay. So this is just simplification. So we remove transformer. So whatever property I am going to show, they do not depend on transformer. Causality, as you see, it doesn't depend on transformer. Whatever happens, suppose this A is not here. I put some causality here. It's here. So if I replace it by one bond, my causality is not changing because of the transformer. Alright. So if I am going to study causal properties, I can remove the transformers. I can remove the transformers and study the causal properties. Because the transformer is such that if one causality is away, other is near. So it is as if single bond is there with a single causality. Whereas if it is a gyrator, you cannot remove it. Because the causality is opposite. Alright. So if there is a gyrator, suppose, gyrator, and with causality like this, you cannot replace it by a bond with having causality like this. Okay, that's not possible. So this is not allowed, but this is perfectly good. So for simplification, I am removing all transformers by assuming A is equal to 1. So I will have a very simple model now. So this model, all transformers, I will simply remove. So I will simplify this model to a simplest form. So I have 0, the transformer and everything is gone. I is to M1, then 1 is to K1. Even these power directions have no meaning as far as causal properties are concerned. Okay. So this is my simplest model, very simple model. I have intentionally got it to this structure. Now we will assign causality to this. So take something, keep from I element. So I put a stroke at I element, and I find that after putting this stroke, nothing happens. I cannot basically proceed. So because it is at a zero junction, one bond is causal away, so two are left out. Anyone can be near. I don't know, so I cannot proceed. I go to other I. It's the same problem. I cannot proceed. So other I also same problem. Then go to C element. It's a one junction. We can have only one bond causal away. Two can be near. One of them I have put near. I don't know which other one will be near, which one will be far away. So we cannot proceed. Same thing for C is to K. So we have gone to a state where after causaling all states, model is non-causal. Causality is incomplete. The next step, what we know, causal are elements that we did last class. And if it is causal completely after R elements, then it is algebraic loop. And if it is still uncausal after causaling R elements, then it is causal loop. Here we don't have R element. So we don't have, okay, so nothing. Okay. So model still remains uncausal. Contains uncausal bonds. We don't have R elements, so it contains, but in some models, even if having R element, model may contain uncausal bonds. So now what? So it definitely has causal loop. So we definitely have causal loop. So if you have causal loop, what do? We give arbitrary causality to internal bonds. Arbitrary causality, unpropagated. So I will give arbitrary causality, some arbitrary causality in color here. Anyway, okay. Let's say I give it here. Arbitrarily given, in that is step 5. If you look at TAP algorithm, it is step 5. So it's arbitrarily given. Then we propagate. This is strong bond of zero junction. So zero junction allows only one bond to be causal near. So this is already there. So other two should be away. One is already away. We put this one here. Again, this is one junction. This is strong bond of one junction because one bond can be causal away from one junction. So already one bond is causal away. That means other two should be near. C is to K1 is already near. So we will put also the other one near. So that's how we have done. Now look at any other junction. Zero junction with I is to M. This is M2, sorry, not M1. So I is to M2. Here we have two bonds causal away. So the remaining one must be causal near, that is strong bond. And it's completed. The causality at one junction, two of them are causal near, other one is away, at C is to K2. So that is fine, no problem. So we have this situation. Okay?
Sir, in case even after assigning one arbitrary causality, it's not propagated completely. So we
Then
assign another arbitrary. Okay.
Yes. Okay, another. So this is the state. Now let us give some bond numbers and try to derive its equations. Some arbitrary bond numbers. Let's say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 bonds. Our state vector we know. I am writing here. This is integral causality in bond number 1, E1. Bond number 5 is integral causality P5. Bond number 3 is integral causality Q3. Bond number 7 is integral causality Q7. Which transports, sources are not there. H dot is P1, 5, F3, F7 transport. So that's our this thing. So let's try to write one equation. E1. What is E1? Strong bond is E2. So E1 is E2. E1 itself is output of zero junction, and this zero junction 1 to 8, strong bond is 2. That is the one which is giving effort to zero junction. So E1 is equal to E2, E8 is equal to E2. That's what we should have written. So I have written E1 is equal to E2. Then at one junction, 2 is strong bond. So E2 can be written as E4. E4 is opposite direction. E3 is in same direction. So it will be E3.
So there we have to equate the flows right at one junction. So F3
Yes.
will be equal to F2.
F3 F3 is equal to F2, F4 is equal to F2, and E2 is equal to E3 minus E4. Okay. So F3 is equal to F2, F4 is equal to F2, E2 is equal to E3 minus E4. So I am writing that equation only. Alright, I will write the other equations when time comes. So E3 minus E4. Now again E4 is zero junction strong bond is 6. So E4 is E6, and E3 is how much? E3 is written in terms of states. H3Q3 minus E6. Again, what is E6? So this is K3Q3 minus. At one junction, at the one junction, bottom one junction, we have E6. According to power direction, it is E7 minus E8. 7 minus 8. And E7 is K7Q7. Let's see. E3 minus E4. Okay. E2 is E3 minus E4. E4 is E6. E6 is E7 minus E8. Okay. Okay. Minus 1. So what we have here, K3 Q3 minus E7 is K7 Q7 and plus E8. How much is E8? Strong bond is 2 at zero junction. It is E2. So what we got? This is basically E2 is equal to this. Now E2 cancels. E2 has got cancelled. So what we got is K3Q3 minus K7Q7 is equal to 0, which is a hidden constant. That is force in spring 1 and force in spring 2, they are equal. That's what we got. Okay. So this is a hidden constant. We didn't know about it. Right. This we got. Right. So Q3 and Q7 cannot be independent. They cannot be independent. That means both of them cannot be states. So states. That's one observation. Number two, how do we find E2?
Sir,
Yes,
sir, is it important that every time we have to get this relation from writing the equations for every node, like for at every junction? By seeing the figure also, we can say because the
yes,
whole
yes, yes,
setup is
yes, yes,
moving upward or downward.
yes, you can tell. Okay, from this itself, this is a very simple system, you can tell. That is okay. Directly you can tell that they are constant. They are constant. All right. They must have same force. That's
Yes.
understood. Okay, that's understood because ultimately F1, these two forces, P1 and P2, P1 into area plus P2 into area is acting on top mass, P1 into area into P2 into area also is acting on the bottom spring. So both the springs have same force. That's it. Okay. So that's very simple. So that's what we get from the equations also. I am showing it for the completeness.
Okay.
But some systems you cannot tell beforehand. Okay. Okay. So let's write the other state. P5 I am not writing. We know. Okay. Starting from P1 and P5 will give us same thing. Let's try to write F3. That is another state, DQ3. So F3 is strong bond is F2. So DQ3 by dt. F3 is equal to F2. What is F2? This zero junction 2 is strong bond and power directions are all opposite to that of 2. So F1 will be minus, F8 will be minus. So F2 is minus F1 minus F8. Minus F1 minus F8. And minus F1 we know that is P1 by M1, that is our state. Minus this F8. F8 goes to another one junction and their strong bond is 6. So F8 is F6. At the strong junction of 8, 6, 7, 8, F8 must be F6. So minus P1 by M1 minus F6. That is equal to minus P1 by M1 minus F6. F6 comes from another zero junction. So there 6 is strong bond. All power directions are opposite to that of 6. So we will have minus F4 minus F5. Okay. This is minus F1 minus F8. Then this minus P1 by M1 minus F6 minus P1 by M1. Okay. So we have P1 by M1 minus. Okay. F4. So this has become actually plus. One of them has become plus. F4 and F5. Where are F4 and F5? F5 is P5 by M5. And F4 is again at that one junction 2, 3, 4. F4 is F2. F4 is F2. So F4 is F2. And that is P5 by 5. So here this has given us F2. F2, F2 cancels. So we get P1 by M1 plus P5 by M5 is equal to 0. That is masses half same velocity.
Sir, it should be minus P1 by M1, right?
Is it somewhere plus minus problem? Check. Where
Sir,
is
it should be minus P1 by M1.
No. Where is the problem in sign from bond graph listing? It's same velocity, opposite directions. Right. Same velocity and opposite direction.
So that last line. Minus P1 by M1 plus F2 plus P5 by M5. Last line.
Minus P1 by M1. Okay. Oh, here.
Yes, sir.
This one. Okay. Okay. Minus P1. Okay. So anyway, okay. They are same velocity. So we have a constant. Another hidden constant.
They won't have opposite directions anymore, right?
No. We cannot because it is incompressible. Okay. You will have same direction now. Same means actually our coordinate system has changed. Okay. This one, if this moves this way, if this moves this way, this one will come down. Okay. This one also has to come down in same direction, same time. Okay. This one needs to come down. This moves in opposite direction, but our coordinate system will change. So I have kept it as opposite direction. Physically, it is actually opposite direction. So what we have this. So we have again another hidden constant. No equation for F3. So whenever we are trying to derive equation, we are not getting any equation. It's coming to some identity, and that variable is getting deleted. So how do we get equations? This is a big problem. Okay. So to solve this problem, I will again go back to that same model. So where is problem? We are unable to derive equations. Equation. In this case, a single equation we are unable to derive, but in some systems you may be able to derive some equations. Some particular equations you won't be able to derive. So what we have our model? 1, 3. Our directions anyway doesn't matter. We should have modeled these two as other direction. Okay. So instead of this, we should have modeled it in this direction so that mass moves same direction as the other one. So because of that, we have inconsistency in direction. Anyway, so this is the situation. What do we know? This structure, we know we can combine these two. We can combine these two. We can as well combine these two. So this one is 1. We can as well combine these two 1 junctions. Different ways we can combine. Let's combine these two 0 junctions. So what we have? 1. Here 1. K2. Then you have 0. Then you put a 1 junction. That's what it is. Again, these two 1 junctions will go. So So we have a very simple model. We have a very simple model. Just 0 is to K1 is K2 1 I is to M1 I is to M2. So that's what our model reduces to. If you put causality on this model, then we find any one you choose. So this will give a state. A state. This becomes strong bond. So this is not doesn't give state. It becomes dependent on the other one. Okay, this is at one junction. And this one, you would choose any one. This gives a state. And if you put here, this one comes here. No state. So we have basically 2 states, not 4. Okay? Which we have determined. And the causal loop actually was hiding from differential causality. Okay? So some differential causality was being hidden by that causal loop. That we found, okay, when we simplify the model. You can always have a solution. Include some flexibility or compressibility of fluid with large beta. So instead of actually making it incompressible, we can say it is compressible, but bulk modulus is very large. So it is effectively something like a pad we have discussed earlier. Okay, so this is similar to pad. So if you do that, if you do this add a pad, then you will see our model will get simplified and we will not have any problem. If you put a C element here, causality will be done properly, absolutely without any problem. Alright? And causal loop will be removed. So this causal loop, you can actually see from this model here. You see in details, you see how is E2 going? E2 information goes like this. Then this is E2 is going here. E8 is, this is E. This is the direction E is going. This is the direction E is going. So it completes a loop. Right? And the flow information actually is going in this direction. This is the way flow information is going. Right? So one direction effort is rotating, this is rotating, and it's not going to solve the problem. Whole loop is completed without going through any other element. That's why we have a loop. So this is what happens when you have a causal loop. So we saw we have got 2 masses. We have 2 masses. at one junction, springs at one junction. Sorry, masses at one junction, two springs at zero junction. Can we add them? To a system, let's say 0 is to K1 plus K2 and other two things also. I add that one junction, I remove, I is equal to M1 plus M2. So this is very subtle thing, very, very subtle thing. And because you have studied a lot of dynamics, so we will come to something very interesting called a locked up mode. Let's say we have a mass connected to a spring, another spring, and we have mass like K1, K2, K1, K2. Are they safe?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then you have problem. Okay, they are not safe because see it very carefully. Can we give, let's say this is A, B. Can we give independent?
There would be problems in differential and integral causality probably. One of these.
No, they are same model.
Okay.
Okay. Can we give independent initial conditions in both springs? Such that the system is at rest. Tell me which one we can do, which one we cannot. Suppose I move it somewhere. So what happens?
Both will have the same reflection.
Same reflection. This one will be compressed or one will be under tension. Is it not? If I give if I have moved, I will have K1x acting down, K2x also acting down. That's possible. This thing also said, I will give at K1x, I will get K2x. But let's say the springs, right, we can pre-compress. Pre-compress means the spring is like this, goes through slot. There is knot to tighten. So what do we do with that knot? With that knot, we can give pre-tension or pre-compression to the spring. Is it possible? The springs can be pre-compressed or pre-tensed. Okay. Yes. Yes, Steph. So we can actually give any pretension to a spring by rotating that knot, or by moving this platform. By moving this platform like that, like this and this, we can pre-compress the things. So if you have some mass with some spring, we can press them and still let the mass be under equilibrium. For example, let's say here is a thing. Here is a thing. Okay. Then there is spring. There is mass. There is spring. I move it to this way by some amount. I move this also this way by some amount. So this I move by something, let's say this is K1 by X1. This is K2. I move it by X2 ampere. Clamp in new position. So deep pre-compression. So it's possible. I can move my supports from both sides. I can clamp them. Then this is my N. If K1 X1 is equal to K2 X2, mass does not move. Okay? Mass will not move. Nothing will happen. Whereas this is configuration A. We cannot. They are on one side. They are on one side. This ground I cannot move two ways. It's not possible. So because these two springs are so geometrically configured, I cannot do that. Whatever will be pre-compression of X1, K1, that will be pre-compression of K2, both will add up and they will move the mass. Alright? So if you give pre-compression to K1 and K2, mass will move. Not let that mass stay there. So,
Sir, what if we apply a constant downward force on the second configuration such that there is an initial compression proportional to that constant force and which acts throughout the system, throughout the time in which it oscillates?
Static configuration, locked up, locked, put zero. Okay, all motion.
Yes. So you said, can we do it in B? So we can give a pre-compression in B by giving a constant force, downward force.
So both will be same. Right. See, pre-compression will be same. No problem. Okay, both pre-compressions will be same. Okay, but then, can you change it? You are giving one additional force. Okay, on the mass M1, external force. Okay, here we don't need that external force.
That forceful clamping on system A is also in that way an external force. Because
for those forces are stored in the string itself. You don't have to model that. In our model, you don't have to put a source of effort. But in the component B, in the configuration B, we have to add a source of effort. Without that, it will not compress. Okay, is that clear? Okay, unless you have an external force applied on M1, you cannot have compression in K1 and K2. If you give any compression from, let's say, the support side, it will move. So this kind of a configuration is called a locked up mode. This is called a locked up mode. And in this locked up mode, so for this one, we can in fact replace it by a single spring. That's no problem. This is good. But this one we could not replace by a single spring. Both of them, if you draw the model, actually, if you see here, 1, I, E, T, K1, K2, causality, so no problem in causality. We have actually three states, two for springs.
Sir,
Yes. Yes, yes.
why is it that we only compress it? Because even if we compress one spring and extend the other, like pre-expansion or something like that, initial condition the spring is expanded, then it will balance in the second part also. Like in B, part B. The problem arises if we compress.
How to do that? That mass will rotate. That mass will rotate. Okay. We are not going to allow that mass to rotate about this point. Then that is another motion. That mass will continue to rotate. Okay. So if you have K1x, one is up, one is down, then that mass will rotate. Unless K1 and K2 are co-aligned. Unless these two are such, these two are such that there is a spring here, then you have a sleeve or something, around that you have another spring, then it is basically same spring, one spring. Okay, if you are co-aligned, then it is one spring. So we have three states for springs, which allows independent initial conditions. So how do you model? This is model for part A. This is for B. What is model for A? Model for B. Model for A. Correct model for A is not this. Correct model for A if the tension is positive,
Sir, slides are lagging a lot.
okay, I am going slow. So the top model 1I with two C elements K1 and K2, that is correct model for B configuration. The correct model for configuration A to be positive. Tension is positive in both the springs as for forward direction. So we will check tension is positive. Then it will be something like this. You have one junction which I is to K, that is perfect. Here is mass M, velocity x dot, top spring, bottom. K, which one was K1? Top one K1, bottom one K. So if we have this, perfectly fine, x dot, then what we have? Whatever is x dot, that is the extension of spring 2. Okay? That is the extension of spring 2. We may put a zero junction if required. P2, K2. That's fine. So if this is x dot, flow here is same x dot, flow here is same x dot. Now the top one, what will be the tension with positive x dot? Right. Tension in spring A1 will be given by minus x dot, not by plus x dot. If plus x dot, you will have compression, so it will be negative. Okay? So we will put like this. Flow as per one junction it is x dot, but here I will put C is to K1. So what is flow here? It becomes external. All right. So it becomes minus external. All right. So whatever force 1 here, let's say this is F1, force remains same. Okay. Because it is zero junction. F2 is same F2. Force remains same. So this is F1 plus F2. So this is basically F1, sorry, F2. So force is F1 plus F2, but we have a power direction change in this. So if you have that, this one we can remove. This we can remove. This one cannot remove. As we know, if we have something like this or something like this, we can remove, but not this. So what will be reduced model? We have 0, A1, then you have this, 1, I is to M, this 3 will come here. 2, okay. This is proper model for A. Alright? So you see that even though they are dynamically equivalent, if you want to find natural frequencies or things like that, the proper model is such that it will allow you to give two independent initial conditions to the springs and masses or whatever are there. Whereas if you somehow or other make them forcefully that they are in some sense we have merged those strings, that is not possible in all cases. Alright, so this is subtle points in dynamics. So whenever you have locked up mode, you may have to consider this kind of, you have to make this kind of distinctions.
Sir,
yes.
So from power directions at the one junction, should the power towards that I element be F1 minus F2?
Yes. Here. So this is becoming F1 minus F. Minus. This is becoming F1 minus F2. Okay, this one we have given upward positive. Okay, this one we have this. Okay, this one also we have given this. So this one will be this way. As per our these things, this one is tension is positive. So if tension is positive, okay, and this goes minus, okay, so F2 will go like this and F1 will go up. What is that? This will be this. Okay?
Tension is positive, shouldn't F1 be downward and F2 be upward?
No, if this is in tension, if this one is in tension, okay, then the force will act upward. If K1 is in tension, force will act upward, and if K2 is in tension, force will act downward. See, the values of F1 and F2 can become negative, plus and minus. Okay. This is our coordinate system. This is as per our coordinate system only. Okay, values can become plus and minus. Okay. It's not that always it will be under tension. I think there is little bit of confusion regarding power direction from your question. So let me quickly show what it is. Let's say we have a M. Okay. That's it. What is model? 1 IC. That's it. Okay, this is M. Okay. So power is going to both. So from where it comes? That's a confusion. We have put this kind of a power direction. So power is going to both of them. So it must be coming from somewhere. But we don't have anything. So it's very simple. Let's say we displace the mass somewhere. This is our original configuration. Let's say we displace it here. This is some x naught. So let's draw. This is x. This is x dot. We are giving x naught. X dot at t is equal to 0 is equal to 0. So that means we have pulled it up and left. So where do we start from? Here. X naught. Then what will happen? At this position, if we leave it, then we will have a spring force acting downwards. Spring force will act downwards. How will this move? It will also move downwards. So both of them, spring force is downwards, force is downwards on the spring, and force is downwards on the mass. So I will draw mass somewhere here. Okay, on the mass, force is downwards, movement is downwards. On the spring, how is the force? This spring is pulled up. So force is upwards. Its motion, it was already under tension. Now its tension is reducing. Its tension is reducing means its rate of deformation is negative. It was given larger deformation. Now its deformation is reducing. So x dot is reducing. Alright? So this is that t is equal to 0. So what happens now? Power in mass is effort in mass to flow in mass. What is that? That is actually greater than 0. Effort is less than 0 downwards. Flow is less than 0. So it is positive. What is power in spring? Flow is force is upwards. Okay? EK, FK. Here EK is greater than 0. FK is less than 0. So this is less than 0. So what happens here is basically the power E dot F greater than 0. This is basically E dot F is less than 0. So power is going from spring to the mass. Alright? So as per our convention, what we have written is power flows in the indicated direction when E dot F is greater than 0. That is E greater than 0, F greater than 0, or E less than 0 and F less than 0. Yes, it flows reverse. Okay. So as the thing moves, the direction of these forces, they go on changing. Direction of velocities also go on changing. Right? We know we can draw this circle. Of course, this goes like this. So it goes like this. So in this, we have power in mass is greater than 0. Power in spring is less than 0. That means we have given initially kinetic energy. That kinetic energy is being lost. So power in the spring is negative. And the potential, we have given potential energy. So that potential energy being lost. So power in spring is less than 0. And the mass is getting kinetic energy. So power is going to the mass. Once it passes this point means this has moved again back to this place and going down. Once it passes this point, what happens? The string is under compression. String is under compression and it's still moving down. After this, below this point. If it is below this point, then what happens? The string is under compression. So string is under compression means it's force now on the string. On the mass, it's applying like this. On the string, force is like this. And this is moving down. So both of them are down. So you have Ek is greater than 0. That means force is greater than negative and its flow is negative. And on the mass is moving down, but force on the mass is still upwards. It's moving down below the equilibrium position. So force on the mass is upward, but it's moving down. So Pm is less than 0. So here we have that situation and so on. Everywhere it goes on changing. Alright. So these effort and flows, they continually change during dynamics. Right? You cannot say that that they are always positive or negative. So likewise here, this is as per our convention F1 and F2. Right? If tension is taken to be positive, this is how we will represent our forces. Okay.
So the initial potential energy which we are given, that gets stored and it sort of oscillates between C2I and I2C in alternate quadrants.
Or power alternates. It will never happen that both power is going to both I and C or it's coming from both I and C. But our power direction in the picture is a convention. It's a convention. Okay. We by convention put power is going to mass, power is this thing. That is our positive convention. But actually, one will be negative and one will be positive.
It switches back and forth between C and I.
Yes. Okay.
So it is like potential energy to kinetic energy conversion and then back to potential energy.
So what I want to mean is the power direction doesn't necessarily mean that power is actually going that way. Okay. That is a conceptual mistake. Power changes. It's not fixed. Okay. So likewise, in that string, we have shown upward force positive and another one downward force positive. That's because of our convention. We have taken both the strings going under tension. It has to be positive. So for that, to maintain compatibility, we will get that kind of a force. Okay. So let's stop. Okay. Otherwise, you will not get time. So remember, there is 10 minutes extra. So if you have connection problem, you will get 30 minutes time between 9:30 to 10:30. Right. So you can log in from 9:25 onwards. Now 10 minutes is there almost. Okay, 10 minutes you have. So after 5 minutes you can log in. Right. If you log in delayed, still you will get time 30 minutes as long as you log in by 9:40. You have maximum 30 minutes duration. Then it will stop automatically, gets automatically submitted. If you log in, let's say at 9:30, then at 10 o'clock it will get automatically submitted. If you lose connectivity sometimes in between, when you come back, you will land up in the same question which you were attempting earlier. Right? So nothing will be lost if you lose connectivity, as long as that loss is not more than 10 minutes. If that time loss more than 10 minutes, then I cannot do much. Okay? So good luck. So that's okay. Let's call it a day today. And I will go and I will sit in the terminal, my terminal, and check your progress. How many are logging in and so on. And log in to the correct whatever server is given. Okay, don't log in elsewhere. Okay.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, will we be having tests every Wednesday?
Usual.